Hey guys, Tom Hanks here. Today we will have another race in the Tom Hanks Racing series, of course. So, last time we had the third race in round number 2. So today we will start with round 3. Today will be the first race in round number 3, which is the final round. So we'll in the first 3 races, and hi Tess, by the way. In the first 3 races, we basically knocked out the we knocked out the 3 bottom cars that were the slowest overall, and then in round 2 we eliminated 2 more cars. And so now we're left with only the best cars for round 3, and this is obviously the purpose of this is to have the best cars go up against each other on the hardest tracks. Alright, so today's race will take place on the Old Mill Loop at Utah. We will start as always with a few warm-up runs. And then we'll go in reverse order of the current overall standings. So once I'm done warming up, we will start with the Vihor followed by the Armor. The overall standings at the moment, I mean, let's just be honest here. I don't think there's any doubt as to who's gonna win overall, but there's definitely gonna be a battle for second and maybe also a battle for third place. Oh, that was close. Oh yeah, hang on, give me a moment here. Okay, got rid of a distraction here on my other screen. Has anyone ever seen this track before? Has anyone ever raced on it before? Ah, that was a bit too aggressive here. I believe we did, yeah, indeed. Have you driven your car yourself on this track before? I used this track a few times in the classic rally competition as well, 2 years ago. It is indeed a pretty tricky track, and one of the many tricky spots is coming up right here in just a second. Namely right here, if you drift too far outside here, you're gonna bang into that rock that kind of sticks out there. Happened to me quite a number of times, especially in the classic rally competition when we, among other classes, at some point we drove some Group B cars here, and obviously with a Group B car packing tons of power, you know, if you're drifting through those long corners, you really gotta watch what you're doing, otherwise you can get carried away pretty easily. That's a 228.2. All right, setting a first little benchmark here. I feel good. I feel like that was a pretty decent, clean run. So let's start with the actual competitors, starting with the THRS. Now this has had quite a few ups and downs over the series so far. Like last week, it had a bit of an up again, coming I think 4th. So yeah, even though the Bakerfield, which was tied with it before the last race, you know, the Bakerfield did do pretty well and drove very decent, very well actually on the last track. This was just simply better, and it beat it and knocked it out. I wonder how the Bakerfield would have done here though. Okay, that wasn't quite enough of a lift. Yeah, this is the kind of track where I think the short gearing doesn't really benefit the car that much. And so I think on a few corners, if you have the close gear ratios that most cars have, you can end up sort of in between gears, whereas with the Bakerfield's gearing it might be a little bit more drivable in that sense. Yeah, we'll never know. Meanwhile, this car, I don't know, it feels, you know, nice and drivable and everything, but it doesn't feel that fast for some reason. Went a bit wide there, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna restart now. 230.072. Yeah, there was a bit of a mistake in the last hairpin, but other than that, I would say this was a reasonable effort. Next is the armor, actually. And this has been very good throughout. Hasn't always finished as high as I thought it should have finished. Because, you know, on occasion there has been a mistake or two from my end. So I think this could be higher overall at the moment. But it is if nothing else, this is really fun to drive here. Well, really fun to drive, period. Can't say yet how it is here, but yeah, it's pretty good. Alrighty then. To some extent, this almost feels like the opposite of the car that we just drove, in that it's much more aggressively tuned. So it's not as like nice and smooth handling. It's really like it's got a really aggressive front end bite to it. And that often kind of makes it go sideways just off of the turn-in alone. So it's got sort of turn-in oversteer, if you will. But it feels fast overall. Fast and loose versus quote-unquote slow and steady, if you will. It's not really slow, the viewer, but yeah, this is faster, 227.548. That was a pretty good run. Next up is the Seishin Boken RC, which honestly I feel like this might do pretty darn well here. The engine has always felt as one of the strongest, besides of course the HFF, but that's, you know, pretty much untouchable overall. And suspension-wise, it's got sort of the nice, the right kind of balance. It's not overly aggressive, but it does have very good turning. Yeah, I cut too much there. You can cut a little bit like that, but went a little bit wide there. Very nice drift through there, though. Okay. I think that split time is pretty much neck and neck with the armor. So this is gonna be very close. You can imagine how tricky this bit was with the Group B cars as well, with rocks on either side, and with this not being a, you know, perfectly straight. Alright, very clean run, but still not quite as quick as the armor. 227.641. And that's even though I think this run was a little bit cleaner than with the armor, because I took that last hairpin better. But yeah, still a respectable time there. Now we get into the top three. We have the Subaru Chukesa, which had its worst performance so far last time. It only came like 7th. But it did win on the what's that called? On the dirt oval. So let's see how it does here. Yeah, let's not roll it. Come on now. I mean, what do you want me to say? This car, as we've already established, is very well balanced. Drives well, pulls well. The one downside to it that we saw last time is how low it is to the ground. But as long as that doesn't come into play, this is... Whoa, that was close. As long as that doesn't come into play, this is actually a very solid car. And it's gonna take the lead here. 225.427, 2 seconds faster than the Armor and the Saishin. That's impressive. I think that it made up the majority of that on the long sort of straight, because I just think this has a sort of wider power band than the Saishin and then the Armor, and I think that's where it gained the time. It didn't feel much different through the corners. They were all pretty good. Well, it didn't feel much like faster through the corners than the Saishin. The Armor definitely felt a little bit more pointy and darty through the corners, such as the Mara probably will. I think... Actually, I'm very curious to see how the Mara is going to fare here. Because it dropped a few points on the automation hill climb too. Which also kind of favors more powerful, more power focused builds here. I know they all have 180 horsepower on the dot, but I'm talking about like the power band. How much of the power is available for how much of the time, you know? Okay, well, I'm gonna... I thought it was gonna roll there. Okay, that was way too late on the braking point there. Indeed, the suspension tuning is quite important on this one, but of course, all of the remaining cars have excellent suspension tuning, so it's not like any of them are gonna be poorly balanced, because with already eliminated all of the bad cars. Shouldn't have been looking at chat there. I almost went off. The front end of this car is just so precise, so pointy, and so delicate as well. Only trouble is on a loose surface of this, having such an aggressive front end makes the rear come loose pretty quickly. Man, I can't count that run after that mistake. This is pretty difficult here. Like this car on this track is more difficult than I imagined. It's potentially gonna be very fast, but it's not easy to run a fast time with it. Was able to go flat out through there. Alright, and this is the only car with gearing short enough that I was able to use second there. And a 226.175. Second place for now behind the Subaru, which is its biggest overall rival at the moment. But still a solid performance. Now we get to the HFF Motors Pride, and Adderall said that this is the track that he did most of his testing with the car on, and so this is basically its home turf. So yeah, good luck to everyone else. Well, once the frame rate comes back, I guess at the start of start of the run, when it needs to load in all of this car's 2 billion fixtures, I guess it's understandable that it lags a little bit at the start. Ah, almost got it. But again, this has such a... Like this thing is just so well-rounded overall. It's got the best engine. It's got great suspension tuning. Not the most not the most aggressive front end, but still very pointy and just very, very well balanced overall. Like you can... The precision with which you can drive this car is just unmatched by any other competitor, I have to be honest here. I think that split time was just about on par with the Subaru though, so pretty close between those two so far. Yep, another victory for the HFF Motors Pride, 224.851. Man, this is the only time that this didn't come first was in race number 2, and there it came second. This has won literally every race so far but one, and then the one that didn't win, it came second. Well, yeah, so let's quickly do the points. Sort range. So, the HFF wins with and gets 18 points. The Subaru in second gets 14. Mara in third gets 14. Yeah, the Subaru gets 16. Mara gets 14. The Armor this time coming fourth gets 12. The Saishin in fifth gets 10. And then the Vihora in sixth gets 8. Overall, this now means that the HFF has 124 points. The Subaru has 96. The Mara 94. The Saishin 78. The Armor 74. And the Vihora 62. So it's still close between the Subaru and Mara, only 2 points between them. But given that the HFF is now 28 points in front, even if this comes sixth in both the remaining races, it is still going to win overall. And let's just be reasonable here. That's not going to happen. So yeah. The HFF pretty much already won but the battle for second is going to be between the Sububu and the Mara. And then the battle for fourth is going to be between the Saishin and the Armor. Right, thanks for watching. And I hope you will join me again next Saturday at 6 p.m. Central European Standard Time. Until then, have a good one and see you next time. Bye-bye.